All right, I'm gonna give a little tutorial on how to make lemon pepper protein pasta chicken, as well as how to track your calories and macros and how to read a label. Each serving of the meal we make should come out to about 513 calories with 48 grams of protein, which is a pretty good little bulk snack meal for you. So not bad macros there. So here's our ingredients for our lemon chicken pasta. We have some Barilla protein pasta thin spaghetti. These Members Mark mesquite grilled chicken fillets from Sam's Club. Heavy whipping cream, olive oil, lemon, just a bunch of seasoning like garlic powder, onion powder, lemon and pepper seasoning, Italian seasoning. Almost all of this you can get from Sam's Club or King Soopers. Actually, you can get all of it from Sam's Club or King Soopers. So yeah, that's all our ingredients that we need for this chicken noodles. All right, so our chicken breasts come fully cooked, so we're gonna throw it in the microwave for 5 minutes, just to kind of get it de-thawed. 5 minutes. All right, while our chicken's in the microwave, we're gonna start boiling our water for the pasta. So we're gonna put that on high. It doesn't matter how much water you put in here, it's not too important. And then we're just gonna add a little tiny dash of olive oil. All right, and then just a side note, I know when we added that oil, we didn't track it. That's not too important. Most of that oil is gonna either come out, cook out, or get dumped out when we dump the water out of the noodles. So yeah, it's not too important that we didn't track that. I think with tracking in general, it's okay to get like a baseline for how much calories you think you ate in a day. Like, you're never gonna have truly the exact number of calories tracked. So something as small as not even a tablespoon of oil in your noodles that you're cooking isn't too important. It's not gonna give or take that day for you. And some salt, which I can't do with one hand, but add some salt, not too much. Chicken's almost done. All right, our chicken's done. This is about what it should look like coming out of the microwave. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna measure each individual breast. If you've never used a food scale before, you're gonna wanna put your plate on the scale. You're gonna put, it could be different on your scale, where the 0 button is, but on mine it's right here. So I'm gonna zero it out, let it hit 0, and then I'm gonna take one of my chicken breasts, bare hand, it's hot, and we're gonna weigh it. So this one's 3.6 ounces. Zero the scale again, and then we're gonna add our other chicken breast onto the scale, and that one's 4.45 ounces. All right, so that means our total chicken that we have is 8.05 ounces. And that'll be important later, so you want to keep that number. If you need to write it down in your notes or something, it's fine. All right, and then for our meal prep, we're gonna put 2.01 ounces about in each container of chicken, and that's it divided by 4 because we have 4 meal prep containers. So yeah, it's gonna make 4 different meals for us. All right, our water's boiling now, so I'm gonna put in all our noodles. Should look more like that once you actually get them in there. Dice up all your chicken to whatever size pieces you want. Smaller is easier to measure out at the end. All right, to start the seasoning of our chicken, and we're gonna add a little bit of olive oil into the pan and turn this up to 7. All right, I actually lowered the heat down to medium, just a little hot at 7 for the chicken. I forgot it's pre-cooked, but we're just gonna mix up our chicken, and that olive oil, you can replace that with anything. I think olive oil tastes better, and I don't think the amount of calories it adds is really a big enough difference to care about at the end of the day. You can always switch it out for something less fatty, like a avocado oil spray or something. All right, starting with seasoning, we're gonna add our lemon and pepper seasoning. It's very Yummy. Just gonna shake it across there. Seasoning doesn't really matter how much you add. It doesn't really add calories, kind of just adds flavor, so I like to add a lot. Next, we're gonna go into our garlic powder. I'm gonna go lighter on that guy. We're also going to add onion powder. Let me grab that. Also gonna go a little lighter on that. It has a lot of flavor in it. And then finally, we're gonna add some Italian seasoning. And then one more thing, we're gonna add, let me grab it, a little bit more. I can't add it on video, but pepper and salt. All right, and then I'm just gonna add a little bit of lemon juice to it. All right, now we're gonna add a half cup of heavy, 1/4 cup, not half cup, my bad. Whipping cream to the chicken. That'll just make it a lot more thicker and richer, kind of more like a sauce. After a bit more mixing, it's starting to look pretty good and yummy. All right, our noodles are about finished up. It hasn't really been a specific amount of time. With noodles, you kind of just watch them. I'd say it's been like probably 8 minutes, but you kind of just eyeball it and watch your noodles. It's gonna be different for everybody, but mine are good for me. All right, so I just strained our noodles, and now I'm gonna rinse it with some water. And the reason why we do this is it stops the cooking process of the noodles. And a couple important things to look at here. You want to be looking at your calories per serving, so per 2 ounces in this case, which will measure out in the end how many servings we'll use. And then the big things to look at, there's a lot here. Most people want to focus on their fat, their protein, and the carbohydrate percentages in here. So those are the big 3 you want to be looking for when you're looking at a label. Stuff that could be important for certain people is stuff like cholesterol. And you can always just look up if something is something you're worried about on here, but learning how to read a label is important. All right, so now we're gonna put our pot on our scale. I zeroed it out, and we're gonna pour the noodles in here so that we can measure them. All right, so our noodles measured at 35.7 ounces. We're gonna have to do some math to figure out what that would be serving wise in a sec. Okay, so we have 7 servings per container in here, and 2 ounces is the serving size. So we have 14 ounces of pasta in this entire thing dry. So what we're gonna track is about 3.5 ounces per meal prep container. And we're doing that because no matter what, a quarter is gonna be a quarter. So we're gonna take 1/4 of our cooked noodle weight and put it into a thing, and that will still equivalent out to being about 1/4 of the uncooked, because we're just taking a quarter of 35.50 instead of 14. All right, so now we put our noodles about roughly 8 ounces in each of our meal prep containers. I'm gonna eat one right now because I'm hungry, so that's our 4th serving. Okay, and then we added roughly 3 ounces of that chicken with the sauce. It's 2 ounces of chicken per one. I did an extra 1 ounce to equate for the sauce. And then that turns into 4 meal prepped containers. Yeah, so hopefully that was a pretty easy video to follow along, and hopefully I hit everything on it for that. Just for tracking in general, it's really easy. You just got to look at the serving sizes on the back and then get the weights, and then food scale is going to be your best friend. You're going to want to weigh everything, and if you can, you want to get a nutrition tracker app. I use Macro Factor. I think MyFitnessPal is still free, and that's good enough. That'll do most of the busy work for you. All you have to do is weigh it. So I heavily recommend doing that. But yeah, that was lemon pepper chicken tutorial.